how we will apply for US universities and how we will prepare ourselves for US universities.
First thing is basically you have to select university, and it's also a good idea to write an email to professors before you formally apply into the university. In general, gap in your studies is your strength, not your weakness. I mean, you can send any CV, but in general in US, we write few personal details in the CV: the name, email address, and a phone number. I think it's important that your interest and his or her interest should be matching. Hello everyone, my name is Waseem Haider and I'm a professor of mechanical and materials engineering at Central Michigan University. So today I'm here in Bahrain and I have two very special guests with me, Mr. Ahmed and Mr. Jignesh. Both of these two gentlemen have been working in the oil and gas industry from last several years. They were very interested in knowing about US admissions and scholarships, especially for master's and PhD students. So let's talk to them. How are you? How are you
Fine.
doing?
What about you, sir?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Okay, let's get started. So do you have any questions for me?
Yes, sir. We have a lot of questions, and thank you first of all. You are here, and you will answer our very curious questions. My first question is how we will apply for US universities and how we will prepare ourselves for US university.
So the first thing is basically you have to select university, right? There are hundreds of universities. What you can do is go to Google and put US News ranking. It will rank the universities. And also depending on what major or what department you want to apply in, so you can also rank the universities based on your area of interest. And once you have selected few universities, then you can go to their website and look at the admission requirements. And it's also a good idea to write an email to professors before you formally apply into the university. If you receive a positive response, then I would highly encourage you to apply. So to cut the long story short, you should go to the university web pages and look at the admission requirements. And if you feel that you would qualify for admissions, then do apply.
Okay, thank you, sir. My second question is if I got reply from respected professor, how I will present myself to professor, because I have certain gap in my education, but I have experience. I am doing some projects and different jobs, so I can cover myself. But how I will present myself in front of that professor?
I mean, in general, that gap in your studies is your strength, not your weakness, because from the last, let's say 5 years or 10 years or however number of years which you have worked in the industry, you have gained a lot of experience. And a lot of the projects are also industry based, or professors are also looking for people who have the industrial experience. So I think it's very important for people to know that if you have worked in the industry or in academia for a number of years after your bachelor's degree, and now after those years you are thinking to apply into master's or PhD. So I think with those that your work experience is your strength. So of course you have to present that strength, that experience in such a way that it would embark like a positive experience.
My next question is how I will boost my profile. I will review article, I will write review article, research papers, courses. What are the main points or the important points? Professor concentrate on that points. Study, gap, special courses. For example, I graduated in 2017. After that, I have study gap. I am doing job, and if in the certain period 2017 2024, if I did some courses, I did 1 or 2 review articles, it will impact on my profile. How it will be impact?
I mean, if you have any research articles or any review articles, that is very good, because it shows that you have already done some literature review and you know how to write papers. So that's for sure a strength which professors or the university would value it. And now as far as your any other experience is concerned, that's also a good thing. So but make sure that when you write your experience or when you write an email to a professor, make sure you highlight that you have written articles, you have good job experience. Make sure they are also appropriately addressed in the CV as well.
Yeah.
So I think all these things are good things, and professors would love to see a prospective student having this experience. So Jignesh, do you have any questions?
Yes, sir. So how much time required for this admission? Means before how many months or how many years we have to prepare ourselves for the admission of master or PhD?
Yeah, that's a great question. In general, the fall semester starts in August. So about 10 months before the semester starts. So let's say almost in October, a year before. So let's say if you are applying for 2025 fall, which is August 2025, then you should be applying for graduate school in October or November of 2024. So I would say approximately 10 months before the semester starts, one should apply.
My question is, if I have to email professor, what should I include? Like my CV, there is separate certain type of US CVs template, or I will send him some my normal CV. Like some people are sending Europass CV. So tell me about the little bit CV. What should I send him, and about any presentations, little bit idea.
Okay. So in general, when you write an email, your email should be very simple. You simply, maybe in 1 or 2 lines, you can introduce yourself. You can tell that you have graduated from this university, or if you have a work experience, you can mention about your work experience very quickly. If you have written any articles, you can mention those. And it might also be a good idea to write that you are available to discuss more with the professor, or over the Zoom or over the phone call. Make yourself available. And as far as the CV is concerned, I mean, you can send any CV, but in general in US, we write very few personal details in the CV. We would write the name, address, email address, and a phone number. We would not write date of birth, nationality, race, religion, gender, marital status. In general, we would not write those things, unlike the European CVs. So, and also your CV, if you're applying for a master's or PhD, it's always a good idea to have your CV in 1 or 2 pages.
Thank you, Professor. One other thing, what about letter of statement? Like some students are preparing letter of motivation, statement of purpose. It should we need to send professor with CV, or not? When he will reply us, then we will send.
Yeah. Usually professors would probably not ask you for the statement of purpose.
Okay.
When you would formally apply into the university, at that time, one of the document which is required is the statement of purpose. So you should write 1 or 2 pages, but for sure not more than 3 pages. I think 1 to 2 pages is pretty standard. Statement of purpose, which is a required document which needs to be attached with your application.
One thing I heard about some US universities, some people are applying US universities, and some are getting reply that write essay about this, essay on this topic. I don't know about this.
So it's almost the same thing, just like statement of purpose. Mainly for undergrad admissions, they would ask you to write an essay. But even if someone's asked you to write an essay for graduate studies, you should be able to write on that topic which is given to you. So it is just basically going to be 1 to 2 pages essay on the topic which is given to you.
My next question is, like maximum countries we're doing masters and PhD separately, but US there is separate path, MS leading to PhD. How is it beneficial for me? I am graduate, I want to go for PhD, but I don't have masters. Is it beneficial, and how it will be impact on my future, and how it will be useful for me?
In general, if you have a 4 years bachelor's degree, 12 years of high school, and 4 years of bachelor's degree, that's a 16 years of education. In most of the school in the United States, if you have a 16 years of education, then you can directly apply for PhD. You have 2 options. You can, or maybe I should say you have 3 options. You can go for master's, or you can go for master's leading to PhD, or you can directly go into the PhD. So in other words, you do not need a master's degree to apply into the PhD.
That's great. Yeah. And about graduate assistant, research assistant, TA, what is this? Because I don't know about this.
Okay. So in general, because studies are kind of expensive in the US, and most of the time universities provide either the research assistantship or a teaching assistantship to the students. So which is basically one will be working 20 hours per week, either as a research assistant or as a teaching assistant. and that would generally cover their tuition fee, and at the same time they would be given a stipend to cover their living expense.
That's great. Okay, after getting reply from my professor, I gave him my presentation. I get reply, okay, you are selected. What will be my next step? Suppose I-20, a professor reply or send my profile to administrative department or admission department. What is the next procedure?
One thing here I want to tell you is that every time when you are called for interview, it may look like that it's a very informal talk, but you should take you should take it seriously and really prepare for interview. Some of the general questions they can ask you is, tell me about yourself. So one of the good ways that you can write it down, few lines about yourself, so that you can try to know what you will be telling about yourself to a professor. Similarly, they can ask you, tell me about your work experience. So it's always a good idea to write it down first, because you would write few drafts and then you know what you will be saying in few sentences about your work experience. So similarly, once you file for admission, the graduate school in general checks if all the documents are complete. Once they are complete, they send your application file to the department for review. Admission committee reviews your application, and then they either accept or reject your application. Once your application is accepted, then either they send directly to the international office if you're an international student, or to the graduate school. But ultimately, it's going to go to the international office, and they would make sure that you have a scholarship or funds to support your studies. And once you're able to show that either by a scholarship or by your personal funds, or if somebody is sponsoring you, then they would issue you a document called I-20. I-20 is a formal document which is usually issued by the school, which you would need to apply for the student visa.
Thank you, Professor. My question is, how can I switch my field? Suppose some students are belong from chemistry, they want to switch to material or mechanical. Some are belong from chemical and they want to switch to environment. How is it possible? Because some specific countries and specific university, they did not offer this way, but how it is in US?
So in general, it really depends what you really want to do, right? If you are from one major, if your undergraduate degrees in one area, one field, and now you want to switch the field, they would see how these fields are related, and if you have a work experience as well. I mean, you should try to look for professors or try to look for a project where you should be able to use your undergraduate degree, what you have learned in the courses or in the research, and at the same time what you have learned in your work environment, even if it's a slightly different, whether let's say if your degree is in chemical but you are working in material science or environmental chemistry or so on. So if you're able to present and clearly display that all your degrees and your experience are very beneficial for the degree which you want to get, which is going to be master's or PhD, I think then it would be very easy. If you're able to make your case and if you're able to present yourself, then that should be very easy.
So my last question is, how I will convince the professor? For example, first of all, I need to know how many person in admission committee will interview, professor or some other assistant professors, how many the staff, 2-3 person generally, how much?
Yeah. In general, there is no hard and fast rule, right? There could be a professor could come alone, or he can be with 2 or 3 other professors or another staff, right? So it's hard to say the exact number of people because it really depends. But in any case, whether it's a 1 person or 4 or 5 people, you should be ready.
Yes.
And as I said, one of the best way is some of the general questions are, tell me about yourself, why you want to join my group, or why you want to join this department, why you want to join this university, how is your research experience, or what are your research interests, and so on and so forth. So for each of these questions, I want you to think first before the interview, and if possible, write them down. Prepare a few different versions and try to improve them. so that you are very clear in your thoughts and you're very well planned when you try to answer those questions.
Professor, research topic is important because I want to, for example, I want, and some people want to research on gas. Some people want to research on electrodes. Some people want to research on different topics. How we can align with professor research this one?
That's why it is important to see the web page of a professor and see what are his or her area of research. And I think it's important that your interest and his or her interest should be matching. So it is important to go through their profile and then try to align your research with interest with them so that there is a good match.
Thank you, Professor.
Okay, with that being said, thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor,
thank you.
for coming here and give us very valuable information. And for viewers, it will be good sessions and
Hopefully.
very informative sessions for all.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.